The Pleiadeans. The Pleiadeans represent a very unique mythology, having roots not only in modern alien conspiracy theory, but in most major religious beliefs sects on the planet as well. And I can't name another occurrence that stands out so blatantly in our belief systems or representations as the Pleiadeans. When we talk about any belief system, we like to point out, when we can, where they give the origins of a particular deity or set of deities or a particular occurrence, usually located around some solar body, a star. And we can easily say where the Pleiadians come from, which is the Pleiades star cluster, which is in the Taurus constellation. This is an important notation because the Taurus star system is the celestial home of the Aesirs of Norse mythology. And Norse mythology makes reference to another group of people who they saw as their equals, who were in that case called the Vanier. So we think it's easy to make a correlation between these two groupings and open up their influence over mythology by connecting these two different sets of myths. Let's understand a little bit about this star cluster. The Pleiades star cluster, also known as the Seven Sisters or Messier 45, is an open star cluster containing middle-aged, hot B-type stars in the northeast of the constellation Taurus. It is among the star clusters nearest to Earth and is the cluster most obvious to the naked eye in the night sky. Its distance to Earth is 444.2 light years. The star system has a radius of roughly 17.5 light years, and its other designations include M45 as well as Melot 22. And it is believed that the age of this star system is approximately 100 million years. In UFOlogy or UFO mythology, Nordic aliens are humanoid extraterrestrials, purported to come from the Pleiades star system, and they resemble Nordic Scandinavians. And professed contactees describe them as being over 6 to 7 feet tall, or roughly 2 meters, with long blonde hair, blue eyes, and fair skin. And James Adamski is credited with being among the first to claim contact with the Nordic aliens in the mid-1950s. And scholars note that mythology or extraterrestrial visitation from beings associated with these ascribed Aryan features often include claims of telepathy, a sense of benevolence, and what they would deem as physical beauty. But going further, in the Kemetic beliefs of North Africa, among the Kemetic tradition, the 7 stars represented an open invitation to knowledge seekers, to a more refined level of consciousness. It is viewed as a school of learning, and only those who have been purified of energy blocks. Its invitation and initiation into Pleiadian wisdom teachings comes during deep meditations. And the Pleiadians themselves are viewed as our solar system's source of electrical energy from their small sister star named Electra. Pleiadians are discussed heavily in North, Celtic, and Bronze Age mythology. In Scandinavian or Viking cultures, the Pleiadians were thought of as Freya's children. Freya, of course, being the Norse goddess of love, beauty, and fertility. And for protection, some would paint 7 spots representing the 7 stars or this star system on their armor or shields. Ladybugs were associated with the cluster because of the 7 spots on their wings. The Pleiadians are also represented in Asian cosmology. The first astronomical mention of this star cluster was in the Chinese annals of roughly 2350 BC and were referred to as the blossom stars or the flower stars. In the sprawling Zhang Li Mausoleum, the tomb complex of the founder of the Ming Dynasty, when you view this area from the air, the tomb complex reflects the arrangement of the visible Pleiadian stars. It is called the Treasure Mound, and the tomb is said to hold great cosmic secrets beyond gold. In Japan, the Pleiadeans relate to the cultural value of harmonious grouping, a foundational characteristic of samurai and shogun societies. According to the myth of Amaterasu, the Japanese sun goddess quarreled with her brother, who was the embodiment of the power of nature. She was intimidated and hid herself in a cave, and thus the world went dark. And in order to entice her to come back out, thus bringing the sun back, the gods gave her a string of 7 jewels that would later be called the Pleiades star cluster. In Hindu mythology, these 7 sisters are referred to as the Kritika. In Vedic astrology, any person born under the influence of these sisters is said to be fiery, warlike, and adventurous. The Pleiadian star cluster is prevalent in Native American mythology as well, and Cherokee myth tells of 7 boys who rose into the heavens and became the Pleiades star clusters. The Iroquois, Chumash, Zuni, Cheyenne, and Blackfoot have all labeled this shining collection as an important source of enlightenment. This is simply a small sample of Pleiadian myth and symbolism. This relatively small star cluster has taken a proportionally huge significance in almost every ancient tradition and cosmology. It is both ancient and modern in its cultural representations, and from all mythology tell us that the Pleiadians are still here, present. The Pleiadians, the children of the 7 sisters, the Nordics, or Vanier, they have always been seen typically as friends of mankind, or so the mythology tells us.